Welcome to the latest edition of my vlogs, Love Ultras. This is episode 31 and I'm John Kynaston. Continuing my countdown to the Northern Traverse, I'm recording this on Sunday the 18th of March, and so next Saturday, which will be the 24th of March, there'll be 7 weeks to go. So it's getting quite exciting now. This last week has been mainly dominated by yesterday's race. Katrina and myself ran the Hardmoors 55, which I'll explain a bit more in a moment. But leading up to the week, I had a couple of easy runs on the Monday. I did my Pollock Park run, and then I was really busy at work Tuesday, Wednesday, so I decided not to run those 2 days. It would have been hard to fit them in really. And I was going to run Wednesday, so I decided to run Thursday instead, and I just did an easy road run. And then we travelled down on Friday in time for the race on Saturday. I took some video clips and I'm going to put that out. I've actually done it as a separate video, but I'll just include it in this one as well. So it lasts about 9 or 10 minutes. So I'll give you a sense of the route that we did. It was it's the 5th time I've done the race, and it's by far the toughest, brutal weather I've ever been in. We looked at the forecast as the week went on, and it looked as though it was going to be bad, this mini beast from the east, and it didn't disappoint. It was absolutely horrendous, but it was a great challenge, and Katrina did really well. We both sort of kept our spirits up and kept moving, and we were quite positive about the whole thing really. Got to Kildale, just over 42 miles, and we decided to go in and spend a bit longer in the checkpoint to get ourselves something to eat and just to recoup, and then get ready for the last 12-mile push to the finish at Guisborough. And literally just as we were about to leave, just before 9 o'clock at night, they was it 9 o'clock, whatever time it was, I think 9 hours into the race, I think, they closed the race. They shut the race because the weather was so bad, and basically it was the mountain rescue and the emergency services. They were really stretched to the limit in the bad weather, and there were still 200 people out on the course, so they felt it was just the wise option. So it was disappointing in the sense that we were ready to go, but fully understand and agree with the decision, because it was pretty dangerous out there with so many people out. So it was slightly disappointing, obviously, not being able to complete the distance. But we got our medal for finishing and t-shirt, so that was all good. And as I said, we didn't feel as though we chickened out. It was the fact that the race was stopped, which we couldn't complete it. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this race was, one, because Katrina had really wanted to do one of the Hardmoors races, and I always promised her I'd do it with her. But also I wanted to use it as a good preparation run for the Northern Traverse. So I wanted to run at a pace which was comfortable for Katrina to be able to enjoy, but also it was great practice for me to be able to run a little bit slower than I normally do. I've done the Hardmoors, say, 4 times. My best time is 9.5 hours, 9:35. Last year, a couple of years ago, I was 10:45 when I was building up to the 160 race. So running a few hours slower, we were aiming for anything between sort of 13-14 hours. It was interesting to see how that felt, and I must admit it was great. I probably learnt a few things. One was running at that pace, I felt quite comfortable all the way. I never really got, didn't feel as though I was struggling. I was able to run when I wanted to, just keep a nice gentle pace going. We were walking all the ups and trying to run steady on all the downs and flats. And as I said, if I can keep that sort of pace going, I think our average pace was just over 16-minute miles in that weather. So if I could do something similar to that in the first half of the Northern Traverse, then I feel as though I can keep that going for a good amount of time, and then add in the time to rest. And that'll give me a decent time. So that was encouraging in that point of view. It was also pretty good that there was quite a few miles just after Osmotherley all the way to Blowfield Crossing, where it's the same route. So it was like doing a recce as well, and I was making sure, I know that route fairly well. I've done a number of times, but it was good just to think, right, I'll be 100 and odd miles into the race by the time I get there. I wonder how I'll feel in May. but it means that I don't have to do that part again as a recce and cover the whole route. So it means my third weekend I'll be able to do a couple of out and backs and not bother with that middle bit because I've just done it yesterday. So that was helpful as well. And the other encouraging thing was my ankle was fine. I felt it now and again, but absolutely fine. It feels fine the next day. So I'm pretty confident now that my ankle's going to be able to cope with the race. I've got 2 big weekends coming up in 2 weeks time, the next recce, and then 2 weeks after that the final recce weekend. So this next 5 weeks is going to be key as well, just to be able to cover those distances and be ready for the race. It was great seeing James Thurlow yesterday. His company were providing the trackers, so it was good to have a chat with James and just to see how things are going with him. So that was good. And also my really good friend Andy Cole. Andy's lent me a couple of his drop bags, which I'll talk about in another vlog about what I'm going to put in those, but that was helpful to see Andy, and he had a great race. In fact, he told me this was going to be an easy race, he was going to be right to the cut-off, but we saw him a number of times, came into Osmotherley together, and we saw him at various places, but he was really strong going over the Three Sisters, where we were struggling a bit on the downs on there. And we saw him at Kildale, and he left about 10 minutes before us. And then I say we were just about to leave and they closed the race, but Andy was one of the last ones to get through, so he finished in 14 hours 30 or something, but he was one of the final people who made it right to the end, so well done to Andy. But we had a meal together on the Friday night, and it was great just to pick his brains about the Northern Traverse race and get a bit of an idea of different things, and particularly where he slept and how that fitted in, so that was helpful. So thanks Andy for your advice on that. So basically the rest of this video is going to be our Hardmoors 55 experience from yesterday. I took quite a few video clips over the first 25 miles or so, but then it was so cold I didn't want to get my gloves and my hands out of my gloves, and then it got dark anyway. So I didn't do too much video near the end, but then just gave a little bit in the checkpoint once the race was stopped. So I hope you enjoy the getting a sense of the Hardmoors 55. So I'll be back next week. This week's going to be an easy week, just recovering from yesterday. And then next Saturday I plan to do a sort of a 11-mile run up on the Braes, and just to keep things ticking over, because the following week is the next big weekend, which I'm going to run from Shap to Reeth, and then the next day from Reeth to Danby Wisk. Or I might change that a little bit, but we'll anyway, I'll be sort of hopefully covering about 60 odd miles of the route on that weekend. So have a good week, and I'll speak to you next week. Okay, so it's almost 8 o'clock. We've registered at the Helmsley Rugby Club, and race starts in about an hour's time. It's just starting to snow ever so slightly. Wind isn't too bad at the moment, but we'll see how we're going. So look forward to getting going now. We got the bus at 6, came over, and now getting ready to run. So I'm going to take some video clips along the way and share the journey of my 5th Hardmoors 55 race. This one's going to be different, so I'm running with Katrina, so we're going to enjoy the day together. Okay, here we are, just 5 minutes to 9, getting ready to start. John was just about to do his briefing, and all the runners are lined up, ready to go. It's stopped snowing now, so it's cold, but it looks okay for the start. The gates go through, so it pulls up here a little bit. Been going 4.63 miles, just on 53 minutes, and the sun's out. Well, the first sort of 5 miles or so has been quite sheltered, so we've not felt the wind much at all, but it is there, I'm sure, when we get higher up. But we're running very sensibly, and I think quite a few people, I think, started with too many clothes on and have been stopping and stripping off, whereas I think we were just about right. We haven't just taken our buffs off and gloves, that's all, but feel just about right. Okay, update. We've been going for 11.26 miles, 2 hours 19, and just been through the checkpoint at White Horse about 2 miles ago. And since the last update, we hit some snow, and over the top of climbing up after Cole Kirby, it was quite a flurry of snow, and a lot of people who had stopped taking their jackets off were putting them back on again. We pretty well stayed and stayed here, and the path now is like a smatter of snow, but it's quite nice to run on, and the sun's been out a few times, so we've had a little bit of a mixture. Do you want to know a video? So we've been going for 16.5 miles. I missed the Kohler's quarters. So how's it going?
It's a beautiful day. You could be sunbathing, really, couldn't you? Weather like this. So I think we'll be okay for a bit.
Yeah.
Until the next snowstorm comes to wipe us out.
Yeah, we just had a really bad bit just before the last checkpoint where the snow was really in your face and it was icy, so that really slowed us down. It's heading towards our group now, and it seems quite pleasant at the moment. So I've been going for 21.4 miles. I was 27, and over a mile. We're with Andy went to the last one, and then we're with it now, but we were ahead for a bit, and then he's caught us up just on the way into Osmotherley. We had quite good weather over the moor, but then just as we got to the car park of Osmotherley Square, just before that, another flurry of snow, and it's quite heavy now. It's not too cold when you're out the wind. It's when you're in the wind it gets really cold. So we were, and we're going to be there probably about 4 hours 45 or so. So that's encouraging. Here we are at Osmotherley checkpoint. Quite a few people in, so we've got our drop bags, and Katrina's just gone the loo, and then we're going to head out for the next section. So, oh, how red my face is from the ice and the snow. Here's Katrina coming down this long descent, moving really well. Well done. Okay, quick update. We've been going for 5 hours and 49 minutes, 25.76 miles, which gives us an average pace of 13.34. And I was hoping we'd be around. And weather's turned a little bit now. We haven't had any snow. It's not quite cold, and when you're in the wind, it's definitely chilly. But all going well. She's moving well again now. He was a little bit sore for a while, but she's running smoothly again. So all good. Well, I didn't do any video in for a good while because it was so cold and then dark. But we battled our way all the way over to Three Sisters, all the way over to Blowfield Crossing, down into Kildale where we are now. And it was brutal. It was some of the hardest conditions I've ever been in, and we've been here, I don't know, about 15-20 minutes, and we were just about to leave, and we just heard that the race is cancelled, which obviously is a sensible decision because there's over 200 people still out on the course, and the weather is just absolutely brutal now. So we're just here in the in the checkpoint. I'm not quite sure how we're going to get back to Guisborough, but at least we got something to eat. And I'm going to get a little word from my friend Andy, who called the race.
Great to see you, Andy.
Hi, John.
But a few minutes ago you had to make a big announcement. Can you tell us some of the background, please?
Yeah, so we're at Kildale, it's about 44 miles in, and the weather has turned a bit nasty. And the mountain rescue are a little bit swamped with cases, not just from us, there's actually been a couple of accidents on the road. So they're basically, the emergency services are at limits now, and they've asked us to stop people going out on the moor to reduce the number of potential further cases.
Right.
It is also now just gone 9 o'clock, so we are actually on the cut-off now. So there was a good handful of people, maybe 20 or 30 people got trapped here just before the cut-off. They perhaps would have wanted to go out, but unfortunately we've had to hold them ahead of time.
And we both know that John Steele wouldn't call a race off unless he had to, did he?
Yeah, it was totally on the advisement of Mountain Rescue.
Yeah. That's great. So have you had a good day besides that?
It's been a wonderful day. It just got a little bit crazy there towards the end as the checkbook filled up and we weren't letting people out, so it just got busier and busier. But been some, I think people have had a tough day out, and they've been nice to come in and see some happy faces as they get here.
And you are a happy face.
I've tried to be. But I meant the runners have been quite happy coming in.
Yeah.
But there's been some. The lass here, you can see, is shuddering away. So we've got to look at.
There's a lot of cold people in this room.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's a short Hardmoors 55 issue.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for all your hard work.
Yeah. Nice to see you, and nice to see Katrina out on the trail.
Yeah.